And Susan, of course, we picked the one time when there's a rehearsal going on here inside the Cube, but we're joined by Sean Spicer, who has been part of these conventions for how many years now?
I started going to conventions in 2000. So what's that, 16 years?
Sean, give us a sense of the planning that went into this convention. How much time, how many years you put into develop the podium behind us and this venue?
So the planning and site selection started well over 2 years ago. Once Cleveland was picked, immediately a plan is put together. Staff is starting to hire. They start to work with the city, putting all sorts of plans, everything from the venue that's here to transportation plans, hotel preparations, and then it leads up to the next couple, the weeks preceding this when we get the speakers nailed down and things like that.
Our audience watching right now or listening on C-SPAN Radio, really getting a sense of what's happening one day before the convention. The music, testing the acoustics,
right.
Testing the teleprompter. So what's happening behind the scenes?
Well, right now behind the scenes there's a lot of last-minute logistical things that are happening. Speeches are getting fed into teleprompters. People are going over rehearsals. You hear some of the speakers behind us right now getting up, doing podium checks, making sure the podium height is correct, that their sound is checked with the microphone, and that they know what the sound level is.
And let's talk about the week ahead. First of all, tomorrow when the gavel comes down at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, what is the first order of business?
That's a great question, because I think there's two big things that happen at conventions that's understand. Obviously, what everybody knows about is that we nominate a president and a vice presidential candidate of our party, but we also have important party to business to be done. We reconstitute the party as an entity. We pass and update the rules that the party's governed by and how the RNC is regulated and governed. So tomorrow we'll start at 1 o'clock. We'll go through a series of reports. We'll talk about the reporting out the platform committee, the rules committee, permanent organization, and credentials, and establish this body, establish the delegates as being the official delegates, and then go on with the business of the party to reconstitute it. Then in the evening we'll reconvene after a short dinner break, and that's when the sort of the part that most people tune in for, where the speaker series starts, and different folks will start speaking tomorrow.
And we covered both the platform and the rules committee meeting last week. There's a lot of discussion of the so-called Never Trump movement that was essentially voted down, but are you prepared for any uncertainty, any delegates or delegations that may say we will not support our nominee?
Well, you can never prepare for everything. This is a grassroots party, and so delegates have an opportunity to speak. But obviously, you saw over the last couple of weeks that there was a lot of talk, a lot of tweets, a lot of phone calls, but very little action. We've continued to unite as a party, and tomorrow night's going to kick off what will be the beginning of a successful run to the general election.
I know you're the RNC spokesperson, not with the Trump campaign, but we're hearing that Donald Trump may be inside the queue tomorrow to introduce Melania Trump.
That'll be up to them to decide. Mr. Trump will make that announcement if he chooses to come, but I know we look forward to Mrs. Trump speaking.
And I'm going to ask you the same question I asked earlier with Senator Perdue. You need a good 4 days here, so define what that is.
I think three things is what defines a good 4 days. Number one is I want people to come out of here knowing Donald Trump, the person. A lot of people have seen him on TV, whether it's The Apprentice or other things that he's done in the media, but I think you're going to hear this week from his family, from his friends, from business associates that have worked with him for 10, 20, 30 years, and they're going to talk to us about the man that he is. I hope people come away better knowing who Donald Trump is. Number two is I hope they come away better knowing who Hillary Clinton is, and the contrast that these two parties set up between the choice of Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, what's at stake, and the difference that a Republican agenda would make versus a far-left Democratic agenda. And third is I hope people look at the Republican Party and say, I'd like to join that. I saw principles, values, and solutions that I am attuned with, and I want to be part of that party.
Have you ever done an interview with an orchestra behind you? Where is that tape music or is that live?
I don't know. I'd have to turn around, and that would be rude to the C-SPAN viewer.
Sean Spicer, the spokesperson and communications director of the Republican National Committee, as always, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks for being here.